Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel. Thanks for logging on. If you enjoyed these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today we are discussing the Breitling Superocean 44 Special stainless steel with black DLC coating with ceramic bezel and Volcano black dial. It is a striking watch and a large one. On my 16cm circumference wrist, you get a sense of how broad this watch is. It's not excessively thick, and that makes it distinct from most Breitling sports watches, but it is 52.8mm lug-to-lug, meaning I would recommend this watch for wrists no smaller than 15cm in circumference. The timepiece is 14.4mm thick, which by Breitling standards makes it quite slim. Considering the water resistance of the case, it's also quite reasonable objectively. The spacing between the lugs is 22mm, so the 44mm watch has a broad and contemporary stance on the wrist. The Diving Pro 3 strap, as you can see, is nicely spaced to equal the width of the case, and also being black itself, the vulcanized rubber is a nice match for the remainder of the timepiece. Jumping in a little bit closer, giving ourselves a bit more light, you can see that the strap is a substantial piece. It is very thick, and this will not be prone to tearing, and yet it is very soft. You could have fooled me by telling me this is silicone, not rubber. It actually feels that pliant. Breitling using a wonderfully supple rubber here. You can see it is very thick. The only way this is going to tear is if you cut it. As you can see, it is a cuttable strap, cut to length, with many score marks on both sides, so you can really dial down and get a perfect fit. Now, this watch has not been cut, or I should say the strap has not been cut, so it's a brand new strap. You're going to get to tailor it. It features Breitling's upscale and by far preferred trigger deployant clasp, so twin triggers for deployant. You can see that it's the same DLC steel as the rest of the watch, and internally there is a push button slider that gives you about 1 centimeter of adjustability built in, and you can move it in, you can move it out, you can move it in both directions, and it gives you ability to fine tune. So when you make the big commitment to cutting the strap, you don't have to worry if you're off by 2 or 3 millimeters. You can dial it in using the slider. You can also use it as a little bit of an extension for diving, as this is a dive watch. Getting in real close, you can see the helium escape valve the way I prefer it on a watch. Automatic, deployable, and set it and forget it. Basically, the watchmaker puts it in and you can simply forget it. Unlike the Omegas, which require you to screw it out and make it active, here, as on the Rolex Sea Dwellers, it simply activates itself when the internal pressure exceeds external pressure by 2 to 3 bar. If you're a saturation diver, you already know what to do with this. If you're not, it's a fun conversation piece. The watch is water resistant down to 1,000 meters, which makes it solidly tougher than the standard dive watch in the category, generally a 300-meter specimen. This is 1,000. In 2015, Breitling began to roll out ceramic bezels, and this watch, launched in 2016, features a ceramic bezel, but still with the captive structure that defines Breitling's diving watch bezels. As you can see, the screws hold the bezel to the case, so if it gets hit by drywall, a door frame, obstructions underwater, or while swimming in the pool, it's not going to snap off like a Rolex tag or a Omega bezel can. It's quite securely fastened. A bit more work for your watchmaker when servicing the watch, but so worth it for everyday circumstances and toughness. The bezel action is excellent. Take a listen. The detent is sharp and crisp. The bezel is precise. It is highly scratch resistant in ceramic. You can see it's polished outboard and then it's satin finished on its top, so it doesn't have any unwanted reflective qualities. You'll also note you can line up the sapphire capped bezel pearl with the minute hand. Now you've got an impromptu 0 to 60 timer. There's a flange inboard on the dial that makes it easier to read minutes and seconds outboard, and you can see that the dial base is matte black, again, to resist glare. All of the indices are applique, as is the Breitling logo, and I happen to appreciate that upscale flourish on a Breitling. Breitling timepiece is generally known for being big, boisterous, and tough, but this dial, nicely detailed, also shows they can be sensitive and thoughtful. Screw down crown with a clever feature. This is one of the features that distinguishes a Superocean from a Superocean heritage. The Superoceans are the true modern divers, and they have shear guards for the crown. But when you pull the crown out, you can see that there is a red sleeve around the stem tube, and that acts as your color-coded warning that the stem is exposed and the crown is withdrawn. It is a screw-down crown, naturally. Quick set date, and it also has hacking or stop seconds underneath the caseback, which is matte finished with the image of a vintage diving helmet and wings. You have a Breitling caliber 17. It's an ETA 28242 and COSC chronometer spec, 38-hour power reserve, bidirectional automatic winding, 28.8 beat rate, that is 8 beats per second, a very, very tough movement, and again in the highest spec COSC chronometer. So this is a Breitling that certainly looks the part. It has the size, it has the wrist presence, but it also has the refinement and the feature set to go toe-to-toe with some of the best from the likes of Omega, Rolex, and Tag. And yeah, I would even throw Rolex into that discussion. Given the price disparity between this and a Sea Dweller, this is a stealth competitor at a value price point. You can see the value proposition with no real sacrifice in toughness or precision, and make it yours on the watch box. Breitling Superocean 44 Special, plenty of lume, including on the bezel.